Hello, everyone. Good evening. How are we doing? I hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. It's not Wednesday. I hope everybody's having a good Tuesday evening. It feels weird to have to say Tuesday instead of Wednesday because usually we're live on a Wednesday. Well, when I say usually, every once in a while, that's that way. That's what it's becoming nowadays. It's whenever, pretty much, unfortunately, and that's the thing. Just check and see that me drink because it is quite warm, and it's given quite warm for the next few days. Which is a good and bad thing, I suppose. But yeah, it's a bit too warm uh, for the only paddy, for that way. So we have a bit to talk about. We're not to spend too long tonight live. Hello, good evening, Sean. How are we doing? Hope we're enjoying the sun. It's supposed to be a very hot week, as I was just saying. Not good for people outside as those. Let me see. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Fine Gael couch slow up to shenanigans, of course. Why not? Lovely weather, yeah. Well, it's a bit too warm, but this is the thing. It's all right when you're on the beach and stuff like that, but when you're outside walking, it's not that great. It's that way when you're out in the sun all day. You know. Yeah, it's a give or take. At the moment in time, well, you never can go by what the weather forecast say. But it says it's around, at the moment here, it says it's about 25, 26, something like that. Fucking ants, excuse my language. But that's what it says. And tomorrow, I think it's given pretty much more of the same. Yeah, 24, 25, give or take, tomorrow. Great stuff. As I say, it's well for people inside. But when you're out in it all day, it's not that great. That's why. But apart from that, it's not too bad. I suppose it's well, to be totally honest, I think we need a bit of rain. I miss the rain. Said no one ever. Here comes the rain. You know what rain is? Yeah, we never heard of rain before. Define rain. But yeah, no, there's plenty to talk about. It's hard to know really where to start, but we won't go through too much tonight. We won't be too long live. See, I have something tomorrow I need to do, and that's the reason why too. We're doing it today pretty much because I have time at the moment. So what the fuck is this? Like every time you go on Twitter, there's always something. You can get distracted. There's just far too much going on in the world. I don't know if that's a good complaint or a bad complaint. But there's far too much to keep track of nowadays. Like literally, as soon as you put on Twitter, it's just insane. In the sand, great stuff. So I suppose we'll get started on some stuff. I can just try to think where to start. So first of all, I'm sure everybody's heard about Simon Howes. Um, and it's pretty disgusting what happened. Uh, so basically, Simon Howes, he said it many. I remember him saying in the doll that children with scoliosis would get every possible treatment as soon as humanly possible, heaven and earth basically be moved to make sure they get their treatment, etc. And unfortunately, in one case, I'm sure everybody's heard about it, and everybody should hear about it. The whole country should hear about it, if not the whole world. Um, for young lad and 9-year-old boy, there's no longer with us, unfortunately, due to the government, and that's to be told honest, it's the government's fault for this young man's death. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And the person responsible, the fire utterly responsible, is Simon Howes in the first place when he was former Minister for Health, not to mention he's the Taoiseach now. But of course, Micheál Martin needs to take the blame too for it on Taoiseach. But basically, you probably have seen it on Twitter too. There's a huge uproar, and so rightly so, to try and get Simon Howes to get up and go. And he should be gone by now, but as I say, politicians in this country have no conscience. Let's put it that way. So it's disgusting. It really, really is. It's criminal, if you ask me. Simon Howes probably should be in prison for it. So basically, this everywhere. But the thing about it is, and this is the thing that really annoys me the most, is the media. Take OT and the media would talk about this like non-stop. They should talk about it non-stop. It should be like should be everywhere at the moment in time. But the media, a few media, grip media, a few other medias put out articles on it, but no word from OT, no word from the mainstream, like the mainstream OT, the Irish Independent, etc. That's pretty much crickets. So not a hit. You'd think to be doing a special edition of Primetime, saying how did this happen, bringing Simon Howes on and grilling them, but not a peep, not a whisper from the mainstream media on this case. It just really speaks volumes that they're out to defend Simon Howes no matter what happens, and of course being a fall Fine Gael, because a lot of them are pretty much the state propaganda machine. Let's be fair; the government literally gives them the money to operate. So why would they question the government and cause them hassle? Why would they do it? But it's a sick country. That's all I say to you. It's a sick, twisted country when you see that kind of stuff happening. So moving on, I suppose, to the presidential election, and obviously we're not too far away now, would you believe? Another 3 months, pretty much, give or take 3 months, and we're pretty much there, which is quite literally insane when you really, really sit down and think about it. It's mad that we're nearly at the presidential election already. So we still don't know everybody who's going for it, but there's a lot of talk at the moment about an independent. I think it's going to be independent. He's a big pharmaceutical tycoon, which is not great. So straight off the bat, it's not great. This big pharmaceutical president, CEO of a company, and not even to mention that he didn't even spend half of the time. He didn't pretty much has been living in the United States the majority of his life, and has really never set foot really in Ireland. Well, this fellow is literally from America. He's called Garrett Shields. Now, I never heard of him before. but he's one of he was the one for the president. And he's big. He's a multi-millionaire. But I'm not too. There's many things about him that's very sus. Because I've looked into it a bit. He's not the person can I be given a vote to. Let's put it that way. No way, Jose. Because anybody in the pharmaceutical business, like that's worth hundreds of millions a year. And he has never spent really much time in Ireland. He's an Irish citizen, but he has never spent much time in Ireland whatsoever. And not to mention, nobody really knows him. So, like the only General Joe wouldn't know him, and probably wouldn't. I wouldn't be. Nobody would probably want to know him. To be totally honest, he doesn't seem like the type of person that's very honourable. He just takes the money from Pfizer, etc., etc. So not likely he's going to get many votes. So, maybe he will. Maybe he surprises all and become the president. But I don't think so. But he wants to be the youngest. He is still very young. He's only 35. And he wants to be the youngest president in Ireland. Obviously, now you have to understand you have to be 35 to run for the president of Ireland too. So he's just literally on the age to run further on the hill. But there's many red flags about him. Many red flags. Time will tell, I suppose, what happened. But not likely I'd be giving them a vote. To be totally honest. Because he hasn't really said much about his policies too. The only thing I've heard yesterday was literally that he came out with this comment that young people have nothing to vote for, which is true because you might as well vote for nothing at this stage. Because let's be fair, the office of the president is very limited in anything, pretty much. So you pretty much might as well throw your paper against the wall to be totally honest. Like it makes no difference to anybody, pretty much. So whatever, I don't know what he has to say about it, because there's not he hasn't really said much else. But hello, everyone. New Doubt Station. Yeah, I seen that. Darryl Bryan copying the whipping too, but so when they're ever going to build any other station, it probably took 10 billion years for that to be done. But I suppose it's good that they have at least have something to show. We're still waiting on Metrolink. We're still waiting on the National Children's Hospital. So at least they have a physical object to show people that they actually done it. It took billions of years, but they've finally done it. At least one DAT station. Yeah, Metro 33. Yeah, it might as well. At least they actually got it, built. They haven't even started with Metrolink. Like, I wasn't even born and they were talking about it, just to say. And we're still here. So, yeah. Just trying to think what else they need to talk about. There's a lot of stuff. So I done a video yesterday talking about this, and it's to do with basically in Switzerland last year they legalized assisted suicide, pretty much, suicide pods, etc. And unfortunately, 3 Irish citizens have went over to Switzerland to end their own life. One person from Cavan, a woman of 58 that suffers from mental health issues and didn't inform her family. Her family only got a message on WhatsApp saying her mother was dead. They'll send the ashes out to her, out to the daughter. Um, so then, yeah, that's what I'm saying too. And we're still not there yet. So that's the thing. We're still not there yet. But just going back to Switzerland for a second. Um, I don't think the Irish government should be letting the Swiss government off for this, because especially because the company behind it are saying that they're sending letters and getting consent from the next of kin, and this seems to be totally bullshit, because they seem to be forging letters, and that seems to be what they're doing. This company over in Switzerland, um, which is very sus. It really, really is very sus, and particularly in terms of the Cavan woman's case. It is very, very sus what they're up to. Um, and not to mention, it probably shouldn't be allowed to happen that Irish citizens. We should be telling this company that Irish citizens shouldn't be going into suicide pads. Even though they consent to it and stuff like that, it's still illegal in this country to for assisted suicide. Like the Irish people haven't voted on it, what I'm trying to say. And not even to mention, too, this company, too, is very suspicious, and I don't think they're trustworthy in what they're up to. Yeah, but so not must be regulations and stuff in the Netherlands, because everybody seems to be wanting to go to Switzerland. 3 cases in the last few months have went to Switzerland, uh, and it is very sus. Like I put it up in the community post. There's a video from the Irish Mirror explains a bit more about it, but it's very, very sus, the company behind it, and not to mention too that we shouldn't be allowing this to happen in the first place. That this company should be doing this to Irish citizens. Whatever about the people in Switzerland, if they wish to do it, that's their business. The government in Switzerland legalized it. That's their own business over there. But when it comes to Irish citizens, I don't think it should be happening. To be totally honest with you. Even though they consented to, they wouldn't like forced to do it. This woman did have mental health issues, so maybe she didn't know, what exactly she was doing or stuff like that. But I don't agree with it, to be totally honest. But we should be kind of doing something. The Irish state should be doing something to tell the Swiss government, not to allow this to happen. But of course, they won't do that. Because reasons. Yeah, like if you look at the video, it is very suspicious. Because they did say to this Cavan woman that they sent her an email and a letter saying her mother had the intention of ending her life. But the daughter claims that she never received such, and they seem to forge their signature on the document too. So it's very sus, because I do believe the daughter. I don't know why the daughter would be telling lies, especially because she didn't have a clue that her mother was going to end her life. So why would she write a signature if she didn't know it? It doesn't make any sense. So it's quite insane thing. But so what did briefly touch on another thing in Cavan, and this is to do with speech and language therapy. There was a protest outside the HSE building in the main street in Cavan there this morning. I went by it at the time, and it's to do with speech and language, as I say. People are waiting a long, long time. Irish children are waiting a long, long time for speech and language therapy. Some waiting almost over a year. In some cases, one person was waiting 3 years just to be seen. So it takes 3 years to be seen to by speech and language, etc. And the waiting list is huge and that long, and not to mention there's not enough speech and language therapists. So and obviously nothing has ever been sorted, pretty much, because this has been an issue for the last few years, and nothing has ever been done about it, pretty much. Yeah, it's crazy, and it's not the fact it's not a big area. Like, I would hate to see if it was in Dublin how big it would be, but yeah, there's children waiting on a long, long time. And the children that desperately needed have really I said, just very like very progressive needs. I suppose that's the way to phrase it. Obviously, a lot of our councillors turned up because the Anglo South was there with the camera, um, even though they're no addition. Um, yeah, I seen that in Adamstown. Don't know, like the video. Like you seen the video of everybody chasing after the young lad. Um, I don't know what sparked it, what was said to spark it. I suppose this reaction, if that makes any sense. There's been no complaint to the just on this actually too, because I was going to mention it later on anyway. There was no kind of a complaint, as far as I can get. There's no kind of a complaint with Garda Síochána O'Connor. So I don't know why they didn't make the young lad or the mother or the father didn't make a kind of a complaint to Garda Síochána O'Connor. Yeah, like the thing with the speech and language, just to say too, and they do what they say. No councillor, no TD are willing to say it. But the reason why, even though before even people from Ukraine and stuff turned up and asylum seekers, etc., etc., um, there was always issues with social. Don't get me wrong, they were not so sad, sorry, with speech and language therapy. Being underfunded, etc. But the other thing that's putting huge pressure on is there's so many people from foreign countries that can't speak a word of English, having to go to this, being put into this. There's people from Ukraine that can't speak a word of English, all paid for by the Irish taxpayer, for them to speak English, etc., and to learn English, etc. And they're being prioritised instead of the Irish person, and that's what's happening. And not even just the Ukrainians too. There's people from Iraq, Iran, from Timbuktu coming in here, free speech and language therapy for their children, etc. Being people that are on the list, as I say, 3 years, 4 years, pushed aside. That's what's happening. Let's be fair, that's what's happening in a lot of cases too. But even though there was problems before that, we're not going to say there wasn't problems, but it's putting more strain on the system, of course. Um, but yes, that's that. But I don't think anything's going to come off it. As I say, it's been a long issue in Cavan for a long time. It should have been sorted long ago, but we're still here, unfortunately. Let me see where where am I now, because there's that much that I need to talk about. I'm just trying to figure out what's the most important thing. So I put this up in the community post yesterday about two members of Garda Síochána O'Connor, keepers of the peace now, I suppose, to do with corruption offences. This is in Lockford and Roscommon. Two members of Garda Síochána O'Connor, very young enough, they're only 42, around that, young enough, I suppose, were charged with two offences. Pretty much taking money and stealing people's phone, unlawfully searching people's houses, and taking items, etc., etc. But it's happening all over in Garda Síochána O'Connor. These two people are just kind of fall men. There's probably a bigger scheme behind it. That the Gardaí are probably raiding drug houses and taking the drugs for themselves and selling it on themselves. But these people are probably two fall guys to stop a bigger scandal. That's what I think. I could be wrong, but that's what it seems to be. Because it's all very sus. I'd only got two of them. Because surely there's more of them if this was the kind of carry on that was going on there. But of course, yeah, and the other one. So the other fellow was a sergeant too, just to say. I didn't know he was a sergeant. I knew the other guard was only an only grunt. But this other fellow was a sergeant in Garda Síochána O'Connor. Stealing cash from a property. Yeah, see, the Garda are very honest. And attempted to obstruct the course of justice. Lovely people. They seem like decent people. Yeah, it's more common now. It's like the people that's probably in the anti-corruption union are more corrupt. But I do think these girls were the fall guys. There was a bigger scheme. Like I do think they were probably seizing drugs and stuff and selling it on or using the drugs themselves. And they just kind of threw these two girls under the bus to try and save face. Like that's what I think, and I think a lot of people agrees with that statement. That there was some other big cover up going on in that area. And they just kind of wanted to throw these girls under the bus to save face, I suppose. If that makes any sense. That's what I think is happening too, in this case too. That there's a bigger scheme behind it. But yeah, the best and bravest and nicest people go to Ungod the Shinnaconum. You can't even trust the guards nowadays. Isn't it great? Great country, did I tell you? Did I ever tell you it was a great country? Bum 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 bum. Is there anything anybody wants to ask me, Andrew, just to say? Because there's more other stuff. There's plenty more stuff I want to go through. There's plenty. There's too much to be totally honest. Like there's that much you nearly would lose the mind with the amount of stuff you have to go through. So I did talk about this on the community post too. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that too. They're known for that too. So the Irish state at the moment is literally every day of the week. There's Gardaí being brought up for this, that. There was a guard up in court about a month ago for literally inciting a person, like people to rape another member from Garda Síochána, a woman, like post no address and stuff like that online, like awful stuff. Like I don't even want to get into that. It's just awful. And our young daughter too, like awful, disgusting stuff. So the Irish state is planning to buy a 300 million navy ship. So there's Irish civil servants afraid that it's too aggressive, that it's too aggressive of a ship. An Irish warship being too aggressive. Yeah, that's what they're too afraid of too. But not only that too, I think the Irish state is kind of missing the goal here. What I mean by that is they're buying another ship, that they have no one to put on the ship because they have no men on the ships. What I mean by that is the ship's literally lying in port in Cork because there's no men to put on the ship to sail the ship, to operate the ship, because they won't pay the men to operate the ship. Such a load of talk about ships. But long story short, this is ludicrous because they literally don't have the men to put on the ships that they have, let alone buying a bigger ship to put more men onto, which they don't have. And they don't want to have, really, in a way, too. So, typical Irish state. So lovely stuff, may I say. That we're going to buy a ship, but we have nobody to put on the ship. It's the same with the ships we bought from New Zealand. They're sitting in dock. They have nobody to put on them. So great stuff. We've spent 10 million on ships from New Zealand, and they're kind of just lying there. Yeah, oh no, but this is like what they're talking about is kind of like it's a big. It would be a big ship, like it's a huge ship. The name of it is a multi-role vessel, which is pretty much I think it would be classed as a destroyer. Would a destroyer or a corvette? Like not a corvette. The corvettes be too small. It kind of a destroyer, I suppose. But I don't think it would be no good to us, pretty much, because we don't have the men to put on the ship. So why would you buy the thing when you don't have it? As you say, the Arts Council might find use for it. But it'd be kind of a waste of money if we're going to do that. So good news too, actually, some good news for once. Listen to this. That Ryan Tubley is giving back his €150,000 to RTE. It only took him about 2 years, but he finally gave the money back for whatever reason. He randomly just decided, let's be generous and give the money back, even though he should have done it from day one. Let's be fair. Oh, so it's happening all the time. It's happening all the time. All the time. We could write the book on it with the amount of cases. to talk about in terms of these. But yeah, poor Ryan Tubridy has no money now, so he's down 150,000. You have to feel sorry for the man. He's going to go homeless. He's no money. It's a sad state of affairs. Um, the Ryan Tubridy had to pay the money back. Like, you've actually seen no word of a lie. I actually seen two people on Twitter, literally like the man should keep the money, even though he didn't own the money in the first place. OT kind of gave it to him from a grubby deal. Um, these two people on Twitter, were like, he should keep the money. He shouldn't have to give it back. Like, I'm like, what? Excuse me. But anyway, makes sense. Um, but yeah, it only took him. I don't know why he randomly wanted to give it back now, but I suppose he give it back nonetheless. Yeah, all full of everything's full of gone beans in this country. Um, so moving on to the next topic, which has been talked about a lot in Cavan at the moment. You probably have heard about it from me, and probably even heard about it just in only conversations, maybe, because it's talked about around the country too at the moment. So this is to do with a football player that was playing a game down here on Butler's Bridge against Killashandra Forces Baltoba there last Thursday gone by. They waited 2 hours. This fella broke his leg, like literally broke his leg, and they rang for an ambulance. They waited 2 hours in the club room for an ambulance to turn up, and the club had to bring him into the hospital to Cavan General because the ambulance didn't turn up. So he could have been waiting maybe 4 or 5 hours there with his leg broken for an ambulance to turn up. So it's a great country, and as I said about my father, you heard it all before about my father, how long he had to wait, and that was high priority emergency. 4 hours. This man could have waited 4 hours too for an ambulance, but they had to bring him in the car themselves because the ambulance didn't turn up. So it's a great country. But the question is, how many people are dying every year because an ambulance takes 5 hours to get to them, or takes 4 hours to get them, or even an hour too. Some instances, take for example, if somebody had a heart attack, you can't just say, "Oh, wait an hour or two, we'll be out to you then." That really can't really work because the person will be dead in an hour. And obviously too, with a broken leg too, it's not. I'm sure to God, it's not pleasant. Let's put it that way. And you've been in a lot of pain and suffering. But thankfully, I think the young lad's doing well now. He's in Drogheda, I think, still at the moment, but he's doing a lot better than he was before. But still, at the end of the day, must have been a lot of suffering to have to wait, and then obviously being dragged into a car pretty much to be brought to the hospital because there was no ambulance that turned up. But yeah, it just goes to show you, Cavan is one of the worst counties for this. Yeah, the whole lot's crumbling. But the problem is, see, this is the thing. Listen to this. As I was just saying about the Navy ships, it was a perfect example. They bought loads of new ambulances here on Cavan, like brand new ambulances, and they spent a few 100,000 on it, buying 3 or 4 new ambulances. But this is the thing. Listen to this. They haven't got the people to drive the ambulances, so the ambulances are just kind of sitting there. There's 2 or 3 ambulances, they're brand new ambulances, and I think they're just sitting there in the depot because there's nobody to drive the ambulance. Isn't it great? So instead of giving the money to the ambulance drivers, because the problem is in Cavan, there's not enough paramedics. Like in the last year, I think 5 or 6 paramedics quit in the Cavan Mullen area because they're just kind of sick of it, because they're overworked and underpaid. Like, it's an awful job as a paramedic. It's not an easy job. I'm not going to sit here and say it's like pushing a pen or into that. It's a hard job. You go to accidents, you go to serious injury, you go to people that are literally on death's door. It's not an easy thing. It's something that you can't really leave home with when you go home in the evening. And especially because the people that are paramedics at the moment have to do overtime and get very little to nothing. So you wouldn't really blame them. You wouldn't really blame a good lot of them for leaving and saying, fuck this. But that's the problem. It's not the fact that there's no money. There's definitely money because they can buy loads of new ambulances and do this and do that and do the other, but they won't pay the people to do it. The same with the Irish Navy; they won't pay the people to work on the ships. Um, yeah, saving face. That's what they're doing, but it's not. It's not going too well for them because it's not really saving faces. Because they're saying that we bought loads of new ambulances, but there's nobody to drive them. So it's kind of shooting themselves in the foot because they admitted that they have ambulances, but they don't have the people to drive it. So it's kind of not helping them. The status quo, yeah, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, too, they came out with that saying, "Oh, we have loads of new ambulances, but we have no new paramedics because we won't pay them." Pretty much, that was their kind of statement, and that was it. So it kind of didn't really save face. They kind of just shot themselves in the foot, um, because they were saying they were doing something, and then the next sentence they were like, "Oh no, we're not. We just couldn't be bothered." So that's pretty much what they said. So moving on to, I'm sure people thought, I'm sure people thought by now the Garda Special Detective Unit, the Garda Síochána Special Detective Unit, to do with terrorism and stuff like that. People who have different views and stuff like that, they come barging into your house if you call a man a woman. Let's put it that way. They're investigating the attack on Conor McGregor's pub. Now, the attack on Conor McGregor's pub does seem to be terror, like an Islamic terror link, something to do with Islamic organization. We don't know if it's ISIS or what organization it is. But apparently, again, going by what Conor McGregor posted, and this the same person that was involved with the stabbing in Dublin of the member from Garda Síochána. I don't know how true that is, so take that with a grain of salt because there's no really official confirmation of that. That is the same fellow. But this is pretty much the second Islamist attack. That's the way we would call it. In the last few months, because the last one was the attack on the chaplain in Galway, outside, like at the gates of the army barracks. Let me see. Just to say too, the footage is on social media. It's around the block. It's supposed to call it. It's not that clear because obviously it was nighttime, but it is there. Because a few people are saying that they take it in by looking at the footage from before and now, they think it's the same fellow. But I don't know. I can't really tell on the footage, to be totally honest, because I know people would ask me, do I think it's the same person? I don't really know, to be honest. It's hard to know. We're looking at it here. It's very hard to know if it's the same person that did it, the two crimes. Now we're moving on to another topic. We're moving to everything. And this is to do with the Misha Era concert that was supposed to take place in Leitrim. But of course, Leitrim doesn't exist. Everybody knows that. So how can a thing take place when it doesn't exist in the Southern County? It's only West Cavan. But long story short, a load of people who seem to be anti-Irish, to be totally honest, 500 people, including Kneecap and a few others, that's claiming that they've been censored by the British government, etc. And then in the next hand, let's shut down a music festival and stuff because we're far right, extremists, etc. So they say. But yeah, 500 people signed a petition, kind of, and that kind of got it banned. And the Mayfair community centre in Drumshambo. So it's great stuff, but there's good news to this, that they're going to go ahead with it, Stephen Coe and Suzanne Delaney, I can't speak, of the Irish Inquiry. I should have probably said the Irish Inquiry. But it's going to be in Castlebar now. So it's good to see that they didn't succeed. It's just a change of venue. So it's good to see. But it is a disgrace to see Kneecap because, again, they're claiming censorship by the British government, etc. Coming along and then be like, whatever about them. I know what you're saying, Aaron, only about them. But Kneecap particularly is very hypocritical. Don't you agree? Whatever about Christy Moore and them, they've always kind of been like that. So, Hello, Brian. I meant to say hello to you. How are you doing? Hope we're well. Hope you're enjoying the weather. Um, Also, more good news. We do want to hear the good news that our good members of the Oireachtas, our TDs and senators, are getting a €1,000 pay hike. Isn't it great? They worked very hard and they're getting a pay rise. Um, they've been only in Dáil Éireann for about 5 minutes and they're getting a pay rise. And they're still on holiday, just to say, too. And just to say, when I'm here, too, um, the government is in power nearly over 200 and something days now, nearly a year, give or take. It's going on a year since last November, since the general election. And nothing has happened, pretty much. Like, nothing has changed, pretty much. So, great stuff. Feel like I'm about to sneeze, excuse me. You know that feeling when you feel like you're about to sneeze, but you didn't sneeze? Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Yeah. But not even that, the claim that the British government has censored them too, because, of what they said about Israel, etc., etc. We're not getting into that kettle of fish. But what I'm trying to say is the claim of censorship of the British government, like the British government censoring us for Irish language, etc., for wanting the sixth county to return to the Republic of Ireland, You get what I'm saying? So it's very hypocritical to claim censorship and then want to censor us up and too, and particularly when it's to do with Irish culture too. You think to be all for it, but apparently, no. So it makes sense. Make it make sense, because it doesn't. Now, one of our council, well, not my councillor, Fine Gael councillor. What do you call him? His baby or something. Yeah, Fine Gael councillor didn't declare. Listen to this now. A Fine Gael councillor didn't declare a 50% stake in a firm that acquires is accused of charging nurses unlawful fees to come to Ireland to work in hospitals. And this is as far as the Lord Mayor of South Dublin County Council, just to say. I think he's still the Lord Mayor. Maybe I'm wrong, don't quote me on that. But he was, at one stage, the Lord Mayor. So he basically broke the law. Let's put it straight. He probably should lose his office over this. Because this is it is unlawful. Like, there's no doubt about it. He's the former Lord Mayor. Never mind, sorry. To take that back about being Lord Mayor, he's the former Lord Mayor. But still, at the same time, too, if you're in a position of power as a councillor or TD or whatever, sitting TD or former TD, former councillor, former senator, whatever the case may be, you should be held higher responsibly. Hold more responsible, because you're supposed to be representing the people. But of course, he was thinking about his back pocket. And obviously, he should probably he should be kicked out of the local authority. He really, really should. And of course, probably face prison or face legal consequences. Because it's undeclared. Because again, as I say, if you're a councillor or TD, you're supposed to declare your interests. But he didn't do this. Yeah, like, we're not even getting to talk about 1984 United Kingdom at the moment, but yeah, it's quite wild over there. But yeah, so we see what happens to that though, that councillor. But it's very unlawful. What he's doing. But who knows where the money is? Like, I think somebody said they didn't know. He didn't know where the money is, so he was saying he didn't know, something like that. I don't know exactly. Don't quote me exactly, but I heard it from somebody. So, but still, at the same time, it's very scummy, if you ask me. Um, excuse me, sorry, I'm dying. So moving on to the occupied territory spell, and this is to do with U.S. senators. So a lot of U.S. senators at the moment have signed, I suppose, a letter saying that they would sanction Ireland particularly, if they pass the occupied territories bill. And obviously, this is not to do with the United States. We don't answer first of all, it's to do with Israel. But all of them will come out in their droves, threatening to do this and threatening to do that. Which is all well and good, but it's not to do with them. Like, it's literally not even their country. But they stand with Israel. So, but yeah, so we see what happens there. We see if the government will seem to be hell bent, but the Irish government, to pass the occupied territories bill, which, to be totally honest, you might not hear this often from me, but I'm not really going to argue with them because I do think it should be passed. I know that sounds insane, but for me to agree with the government on something for once, but I do think it's appropriate, I suppose, in a way. But so we'll see what happens there, but we probably know when the doll goes back what they're going to do. So on to another topic. We're jumping from topic to topic and topic. So this is to do with energy, with electricity and stuff. A record number of families are behind on the electricity bills. There's many families behind by 3 months or more. Like, it's insane. The average price of electricity now is nearly €500, just to say. A month or something like that for electricity, give or take. Which is not too wrong, to be told, but which is scrambled, which the electricity, sorry. But yeah, it's a great country, just to say. It's supposed to be the richest country in the world. Even though, a lot of people behind on the electricity bill and stuff and can't afford food and stuff like that. But so don't mind that. Listen to the government. Great stuff. Where am I here? Sorry. There's that much happening at the Victoria. Like, I have 6 or 7 other things to talk about, but it's quite literally too much to be done. Especially because my throat is actually probably killing me. You probably can hear it a little bit. Hoarse. Going on about the Palestine, but I do think we should do something. Hello, Fiona, but I do think we should do something. Oh, it is expensive. Like, I've seen people, and their bills are $500 a month. It's insane. Like, mine, like, I get it every 2 months, and it's 100 at the moment in time. It's around 130, 140, depending, 150 in some cases. Well, one time was 160. Around that, that's what it is a month now at the moment. Yeah, well, it's still a lot of money too for a lot of people too, especially if you have a good few people in your house. Hey, people would if you had 3 or 4 people in your family, a big family, you would run up a bill. But a lot of people are running behind the electricity bill. There's a huge amount of people. But see, this is the thing: the cost of food and stuff like that has gone up. So, oh yeah, the electricity used to be far cheaper. Yeah, of course. There was often times when I was younger. that it would be only about €60 for 2 months, something like that. Now it's up 150, but it's 150. It's a bit more money that should have been in my pocket, if that makes any sense. That's what I'm saying, kind of. But anyway, I think we chill out for another few for the West today. How does that sound? Because there's a lot more to talk about. I think we'll just chill. How does that sound? We probably won't be live for another. We probably won't be live for another 10 minutes at most. Not stay too long tonight. Get nothing forward. You mean everything? Like I literally everything in this country. Like I pay, tax and stuff like that, and I pay, for my pension and stuff like that. Well, I get to 960 or something like that. And literally that just goes into the black hole, and you get nothing for it. Great stuff. I love that. Half of my life is just giving things to a black hole. That sounds awful, but it seems to be that. Hello, Kevin. How are you doing? Good evening. How are we keeping? Hope you're enjoying the weather. Oh, your TV lights. See, that's another kind of thing you don't get anything for. Yeah, it is very warm. But yeah, is there anything else? Is there any other stuff? I know we talked about a good few stuff. We didn't talk about a lot. But we talked about a lot. We talked about a lot, but at the same time, we didn't talk about too much. Hopefully, too much. Ice pops. No, we have no ice pops. It's not allowed. What is this? Where is this? Where is this? The fuck. Give me a moment. I just had to find this. Of course, great country. If I wasn't looking for the fucking thing, I'd be there. Great stuff. Mighty. I suppose you've seen about the table incident. I presume you've seen it, Brian, about the table incident. The table gate, maybe say. What's that? Jeez, you don't know about the table incident. The table gate. Uh, where is this? Well, in the name of God, I thought it's holy. Sorry, give me a moment to try and find this now. So, I tell you the thing, and then literally, I don't know where it is. So that's great. Where is this? Sorry, give me a moment. Sorry, I should get these things ready when I'm about to talk shit. It's been so long since I shared my screen on the thing. Hopefully, it's not fucked. But yeah, you've seen it at the table. Speaking of the Santa Marin, I'm sure you've seen it at the table incident. The table gate, as they say. Quite a new one for people to be dancing on the table. So there you go. There's the table gate. Literally, people are dancing on tables now. So great stuff. New tradition. We're all going to be dancing on tables. Great stuff. Also, I was just waiting. The Finnish government took out a new loan of €500 million, even though the interests, that €500 million they took out could be a few billion they have to pay in debt and stuff like that and back. So great stuff. Rico's doing great work because literally it's putting the debt up more. Because as it says here, the debt pool is increasing. So it just added more debt to the Finnish economy. Great stuff. Well done. Of course. But yeah. You're worse than that fella that was if you look at my community post later on, you see what I'm talking about. You're worse than that fella. That true Finns fella. At random men. I don't know about throwing myself at random men now. I don't know about that one. Out and going going to festival. Does it look like I go to festivals? I have better things to be doing than go to festivals. So, but yeah, anything else before we go? Because we're just about to go in a few minutes. So, is there anything else anybody wants to ask, Quentin? I know it's not a long live stream, but I don't want to be what's the word? Be too much of a nuisance. But yeah, I think that maybe might be it for tonight. There's a lot more I could talk about. There's nine more things I could talk about right now. But I think that's good enough because I kind of just threw loads of information at you tonight. I was like, this is this, and that's that, and the other is this, and that, and this, that, and the other, and the other, and the other thing, and that's this thing, and that thing, and the other thing. Like, it's just constantly. But anyway, thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. I appreciate it. And there'll be no live stream tomorrow, just to say. Usually it's not live streams on a Wednesday nowadays. But there'll be no live stream tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be live again Saturday, hopefully. There'll probably be a video out tomorrow, yeah. But that's about it. So yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. I appreciate it. There's nothing really else. Yeah, there's nothing really else to say. We might be playing a game. Actually, hold the horses for a second. We could be playing a bit of a game some of the nights. Not coming up yet. We see next Tuesday. We see how it goes. There's supposed to be a new game coming out next Tuesday, so we see if it's any good, maybe. Not confirmed now, but hopefully soon. But like as I said, it was all recorded before. That whole video was recorded before. That whole video was recorded before. It has to be re-recorded and all that, and it's a lot of hassle to it. Like, it is an awful lot of talk. Like, it was an insane amount of. Like, the only reason why it really wasn't because it was just fucking all over the place. Well, it wasn't that it was really all. It was just far too long. Like, it has to be shortened by a long shot. Like 100%, it has to be shortened. If it was ever going to be released, it couldn't be that long the way it was before. Because literally nobody will watch it. But anyway, thank you, everyone. So enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the good weather while you can, and while it lasts. So yeah, thank you, everyone. Good night and take care. Bye.